This is the second time today that I've been recorded on a Zoom recording device.
Right.
Yeah.
What was the other time?
Oh, look, that might come up later.
Right. Colin had a problem and a microphone to spare. Thomas took it up and so the podcast went to air. For weeks and months they trawled through every single DVD. They've unwrapped all the ones they can and now they're cellulose free. Now they're cellulose free.
Hello, dear listener, and welcome to Cellulose Free. My name is Colin, and with me as always is my fellow film watcher, compadre and son, Thomas.
Hi, hello.
What have you been up to?
I went for a long walk on Friday. I got out too late and came in too late. It was a long walk, and my feet hurt afterwards, and a day later it skipped my lower legs and my knees hurt.
Oh, you poor baby.
Yeah.
That's no good.
It was a walk. Don't know what else there is to say about it.
Did you get to your destination? Did you have a destination planned? Or was it a case of just go west, young man?
Yeah, just sort of keep going until I stopped, which turned out to be where I'd started. So,
so a bit of a Forest Gump experience then.
yeah.
Except that may not mean anything. I don't think you've seen Forest Gump, have you?
I have seen Forest Gump.
Oh, you have? Well, there we go.
I think one of the humanities classes in high school.
Right.
So not all at once. But, over the course of 2 or 3 lessons.
Yep.
I've been sort of trying to get myself into Magic the Gathering Arena, which is Wizards of the Coast's most recent attempt at some sort of online experience for Magic the Gathering.
Oh, okay.
Which is not to say their only current attempt at an online experience. Magic the Gathering Online is still running and has been for, I want to say, a couple of decades now, and it looks it. But Arena is free to start, and online is not, so
what does an 8-bit pixelated image of a flurry of horns look like?
Oh, no. The art is all rendered correctly.
Oh, good.
It's all fine, but
everything else is clunky. Good.
Yes, a lot of staring at built-in lists, as I understand it.
Right.
Yeah, no, I've been having a reasonable time, although I have not yet unlocked the full experience. I am still stuck in the new player experience, and probably will be for some time to come, because it seems like there's a lot.
So the grand, vast vista has not opened up to you yet?
No.
Right.
No. Anything else? I feel like there were other things I wanted to bring up, and I've forgotten them now. Teapot 16 came out.
Right.
My 32nd episode involved with Battle for Dream Island, in which I had to do an impression of another character which has a difficult voice.
I remember hearing it well.
Yeah.
Everyone went into panic stations as there were screaming and screechings coming from Studio B of the Deranged Cat Studio.
It wasn't a good impression. I was not nearly breathy enough. I do not understand how Carrie does Grassy. It's the way I was doing it was already painful. So.
Right. Look, you could have taken advantage of my voice coach experience and I could have given you pointers, but no. No, you decided to go it alone and I don't know.
Do it better. Do it less bad.
Yeah.
The thing that you're doing right now, it's not.
Raise the stakes.
Yeah, and that was what the video that I recorded last week was about.
Right.
And that went out and received a response.
You did.
Yep.
There were people who responded.
Yep.
And thus the world continued to turn.
You know, there are people telling me to never do the grassy voice again, and I do not intend to. But I am ever at the
mercy of the scriptwriters.
I don't think it'll come up again. I'm fairly confident they'll think of new ideas to ruin my throat.
Yeah. You'll be playing a tennis ball next.
And I finished listening to that podcast I was talking about, Wolf 359, which is a 61 episode-ish.
Wow, that's long.
Audio drama, which starts off fairly comedically over the course of its first season, and then it shifts.
Wow.
Then it gets very dramatic.
So a bit like the Orville. Or does it completely get rid of its comedic element?
It doesn't completely get rid of its... the Orville starts comedic because that's how Seth MacFarlane had to sell it to Fox.
Yeah.
I think the comedic bent of the early parts of Wolf 359 were intentional.
Mm-hmm.
But no, it gets weird. It is set on a space station orbiting around the titular Wolf 359. This series has no connection to Star Trek, but possibly a reference. Dunno.
Well, it is a location in space. So.
Yeah. And in its early episodes, it focuses on Communications Officer Doug Eiffel, a person who is not really prepared to be on a space station in space, but we pick up the story about a year and a half in.
Right,
yeah.
Okay.
No, he is...
So he woke up one morning and found himself on a space station?
No, he knew he was going to be on a space station.
Right.
And we pick up the story with him having been on the space station for about a year and a half, and he's not particularly competent.
I know that feeling.
And kind of a jerk.
I know that feeling.
And it goes from there.
So it's worth a listen?
Yes, I enjoyed it.
And it's available where all good podcasts are found?
Yep, there's a couple of full days of
They still have some
to
catching up to do to catch up with us, though.
Yes. Yes, but...
Just be careful where you go here.
We've been producing, about a half hour of audio every week for 5 out of 6 years.
It feels like forever, Thomas.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That stacks up.
It does.
They only went, I think, once every 2 weeks.
Slackers.
And took months-long breaks.
Wow.
In between seasons or half seasons. But yeah, very well produced. I enjoyed it.
All right, I shall have to have a look at and add it to my stack of podcasts
Yeah.
in my podcast player.
Yeah, I am trying to get through my stack. Unfortunately, the stack has gotten taller since I tried to get through my stack.
Yeah.
I think if I looked at the podcast app where I'm keeping my stack, I would find that it was listed at over 1,000 hours. And that's just the podcast stack.
Yeah.
So, oh dear. It's not a problem that solves itself.
No.
Fortunately, Wolf 359 is a finished product, and now I have finished that finished product. A product that was finished some 8 years ago, but never mind that.
No. Hey, we're still reading Shakespeare.
Yeah. What have you been up to?
What have I been up to? Well, I did mention to you before we started the fact that this is the second time that I've been recorded on a Zoom recording device today. I was involved in another university study today. I went to the University of Tasmania, to their library, and sat in a room and chatted with a PhD student who was actually from Australian National University, maybe? I can't remember. But he's based down here doing a linguistics study of Tasmanian linguistics, in fact.
Right.
Because it's the only state that hasn't had any major studies done regarding linguistics and the state slant that it has. Mainly because University of Tasmania, the only university in Tasmania, does not have a linguistics course or as a subject.
Right.
So I had a conversational dialogue with this person, and then the second half of the study involved me saying certain words slotted into the same sentence. And I said it so many times, and do you think I know what that sentence was?
No, of course not.
It was something like, this is, and then the word again. So, this is penguin again. And I'd have to say each word that came up on the screen in that sentence and say it 5 times so that they could determine how I actually said it. That all sounds terribly confusing, but it was a half hour of that, and I was parched by the end of it. But it'll be interesting to see. I've consented to have my recording anonymised, and kept on a database that is not allowed to be used for training AI, but can be used for further linguistics studies. That was today. Also today, on the way to that, I decided I'd catch a bus into town and then walk to the university for much the same reason that you're trying to do some walking, because it's good for us. And on the way, I noticed a stonking great ship in one of the berths, and I thought, hello, that looks like an icebreaker, but it's not our icebreaker. And I got a little closer, and sure enough, there is the French flag flying. So it's the L'Astrolabe. And I timed my arrival quite well because they had gates open and no one really was around except for the French ambassador to Australia, who was having his photo taken and then was escorted on board, and the French national anthem played, and basically he was doing ambassadorship duties and welcoming the ship, whatever ambassadors do to their country's ships. So that was pretty cool.
Suppose it makes sense. The Australian Antarctic Territory basically sandwiches Amelie Land, so...
Yeah, they use our harbour quite frequently during the summer months, and then they chuff off up north to the northern summer, and yeah, so that was cool. And yesterday I was also in town and I visited the museum and stuck my tongue on the frozen ice in the Antarctic section in there. Hobart does have quite a connection with Antarctica, being, I was going to say, close to it. It's one of the closest bits of land before you get to Antarctica. It's certainly not as close as the bottom tip of Argentina, but as far as certain countries are concerned, they like to use Hobart as a supply point to get fuel and supplies. And then,
have they finished up the renovations they were doing in certain parts of the museum?
Yes, they have.
Yep.
So I was quite surprised that they did the Antarctic section. It feels like that was only done fairly recently. But yes, they've redone a whole lot of that. And it seems a lot emptier, actually. And that may be a deliberate move. But they've also got rid of the coin section.
Right.
Yeah, so those coins have been in there for decades. And they've all been locked away in the archives again. And they've got a gallery of Antarctic-themed art in that room now. So that was pretty good. Other than that, had the meeting regarding the stadium in the town hall, and that was very well attended.
Conveniently, around the same time, EMRS came out with their polling on the issue. Not supported, really.
It's just not. It really isn't. What do you do? There's no telling them.
Turns out, about 50-50 over this side of the river.
Yeah, it's strange. It really is. Anyway, I think we'll watch a film.
Yeah, that's...
Because it's a fairly lengthy film, so we should get into that and give that a watch. What are we watching this week?
We are watching The Creator.
Would you tell our dear listener what The Creator is, in the hopes that you've actually got something up?
I know what the twist is, but that description gives away the twist.
Oh, does it? I don't know the twist. Well, I may have known the twist, but I can't remember the twist. So.
And this description isn't particularly... This is the description from Rotten Tomatoes on Google.
Okay.
An epic sci-fi action thriller set amidst a future war between the human race and the forces of artificial intelligence.
That's what we're watching.
Yeah.
We're watching it on Prime. I don't know where it's available in any other country other than Australia. You'll just have to look for yourself. We're going to wind up the rubber band in the set-top box. We're going to watch it, come back and talk about it. So we shall catch you on the flip side.
Turn to side B.
Not if our AI overlords have anything to say about it.
Turn to a side that looks like a B, but when you look a little closer, there's just something not quite right about it.
The uncanny valley bee.
Like, the lines don't quite connect up properly.
Mongrel. So what did you think?
Gee, the US military, huh?
I reckon.
Yeah.
Huh. The US military, alternate universe military. Right.
This film has a lot of style.
Yes.
And I do like the style that it's going for.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Lots of style.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I am very aesthetically pleased.
It was a beautiful movie.
Yeah.
Even in its grittiness. The grittiness was gritty.
Yeah.
The beauty was beautiful. The sparkles were sparkles.
Yeah.
The were consistent.
Yeah.
But it was a mess. There were dots that were missing. You know when you have to join the dots? Mm-hmm. There were some dots that were missing, unless I'm incredibly dim today. There were bits that just didn't quite join up and just caused confusion, and then it would surge on and you'd get wrapped back up into it, and then suddenly, whammo! Hang on, how does this make sense again? I really, really wanted to love this movie, and there is a lot visually and audio-wise that you can love, but it's a very, very flawed movie plot-wise and logic-wise and just fully making sense-wise. Films can be incredibly serious and have humour interspersed within it, but this was sort of like flicked at you with a kid's slingshot, that you're in seriousness and then suddenly thwack in the back of the head, something to make you laugh. There we go. and then back to the seriousness of it. It just unbalanced and uneven, and yet I really, really want to like it because it's beautiful.
And I think along the way we have maybe one too many encounters.
Yeah, I never felt like it was a really, really... I looked at the time as to how long we'd be sitting down watching this film, and I did have my hesitations, but when it did get to the end of it, I didn't recall losing momentum. Mm-hmm. However, that momentum that was maintained was done, as you say, with possibly a few too many detours to get that.
Like, I don't think the film is badly paced.
No.
It's just pacing to too many places.
Yeah. Gee, that kid can act. Mm-hmm. Wow. Talk about some acting chops there. Very much future ahead of her. And
if she wants it.
Exactly. Yeah. That's... I don't know. I can't remember. Did you go and see Rogue One?
Did I see it in cinema?
Have you seen it?
I have seen it,
You have
yes.
seen it, right. So this was directed by the same person, and it very much had a feel like Rogue One. Mm-hmm. And the bits that I really, really like about Rogue One were in this film. But Rogue One was a lot more, in a lot of ways, are very similar, really. This race too, and very similar to the original Star Wars movie, was that the race to before the doom machine causes its doom, and in the nick of time, but with casualties type of deal. So very, very much that same feel. But this just, I don't know whether he was given too much. I don't know. Maybe there were too many yes men, yes people on his team. That there were places where it needed to be constrained and needed to be just clearer. Mm-hmm. But I'm still going to want to watch it again.
Yeah.
I know that there are bits that I missed, and possibly a second watch through will give me the aha moments, but that's a bit of cop-out. If I think I was focused enough watching this that it should have made more sense in places. That
Any future viewings of this film, for me, will be to see and hear it, if that makes sense.
Yes. Yeah.
To see and hear the things that are not the plot.
Yep.
Yeah, the US military. It sucks.
But you got to remember, it's an alternate timeline.
Yeah.
So
An alternate... Because in this timeline, they definitely wouldn't do any of the things that they did in this film, would they?
And they wouldn't. No.
Our close friends and allies, the US, wouldn't do a war over flimsy evidence of
weapons of mass destruction. That is quite some... What's the name of it? Where you've got a plot device that turns out to be... So the cause of the explosion. Oh, oops. It all turned out to be not the bad guy's fault. So the bad guys aren't bad guys. Type of deal. Okay. Well, I'm still... It is immersive. I recognise the world, but also recognise the alienness of the world. It was our world skewed, and yet I was immersed in that, and I still am. I guess that's why I'm finding it hard to articulate. It is still, I'm still feeling echoes of it that will probably take a little while to settle down, which usually means for me a really good movie. It takes a really good movie to do that. And there's still bits that I'm just not forgiving it.
Yeah.
So, but we're going over old stuff here.
Yeah.
Do you have anything pithy and original to say about this film?
No.
Well, in that case, we might move on.
The following segment has no title. Thank you.
Over on Facebook,
Just
Colin.
sort of insert the sounds of papers being shuffled as I
yes.
search for
We
anything.
we don't have anything here. No. Oh, hang on. Is this? No, it's not. This unnamed
Untitled
segment
It's
is a non-content segment.
well, it doesn't contain any comments from listeners, but like, I just want to take this moment here
No, you can't. Let's move on. What?
to show my appreciation for Anthony Green.
I nearly mentioned Anthony when we were talking about our week. Yes.
Anthony Green, the ABC's election analyst, is turning 65 at the weekend.
Yeah.
And seeing as he is now old, he's decided to hang up his primary presenting, the slacks, After this upcoming federal election, still going to be doing some work behind the scenes, but...
Anthony, good on you. I hope you have trained up someone well.
Casey Briggs.
Ah, okay.
It felt like he might be who the ABC would go to next, and
all right,
makes sense. National treasure will be missed.
Yep. Blood's worth bottling. All right, we shall move on then.
Pick a film for next week so we can go to bed.
And it's your turn.
It is my turn, and I actually need to do a little bit of thinking here.
What?
Yeah.
Thomas?
Yeah. I know.
You're not the one who has to edit this. Honestly. Really?
Well, if you stop saying things, then there'll be a very obvious silent spot that you can just clip out.
You've really had 2 weeks, Thomas. Really?
Okay. Having done some thinking, I have decided to stop thinking and instead trust in the whims of fate.
Okay.
And so... Right, it doesn't do that anymore, does it? Okay.
Okay. Thomas has not shaken his phone because I've updated the software. He's pressed a button on his tablet to select a random film from his massive list of films that he'd like to watch again or watch for the first time.
Oh, okay. Let's...
Press the button again?
No, let's keep on a US geopolitics bent.
Oh, good.
This film is from 2012.
We're watching 2012.
We are not watching 2012. It is based on a declassified true story.
Right. Based.
It stars Ben Affleck, Bryan Cranston, Alan Arkin, and John Goodman.
Right.
And the title of the film has 4 letters. The first letter is an A.
It's Alan.
No, it's not Alan.
Alan. Right. Starts with A. It's declassified. And it's got... No.
The second letter is an R.
Oh, okay. Have you seen it?
I have not.
You
no.
have not watched Argo.
I haven't.
Huh. Well, there we go. We're watching Argo next week. Would you please tell our dear listener what Argo is all about?
As the Iranian Revolution takes over the US Embassy in Tehran... Tehran? 6 Americans escape. Now only one man can get them out from behind enemy lines. Tony Mendez is a brilliant CIA agent who specializes in impossible escapes, but his new plan is as daring as it is desperate. Disguised as a film crew, Tony and the fugitives must hide in plain sight, where the slightest slip-up could end in instant death.
Wow. Cool. I'm actually quite looking forward to this. It's been a while since I watched this. I've only watched it once, I think. But enjoyed it enough to recommend it to someone else, so we shall see.
Yep.
When we watch Argo next week, we hope that you can join us. Please join us. Please comment.
Comments? Any sort of comments.
Yeah.
Just, I mean, they're not necessary, but they do.
No.
They do help.
They do. They make us feel loved.
You know, maybe try and guess what this week's file name is.
Oh, yes.
You know, yes, that makes sense.
Good.
You know, this should be gettable.
Yeah.
You know, you can get this,
See, that's
listener.
why no one commented this week.
Well,
because you scared them off.
Yeah, I did.
Yeah.
I was right to scare them off. The file name was TFATF1. The number 1.
Well, it was the first.
It was the first.
Yeah.
But nobody was ever getting that.
No, they weren't. Obviously. Anyway, join us next week, Argo. Until then, we'll catch you next time.
Bye. You have been listening to Cellulose Free. Your hosts were Colin, who produces and edits the show, and Thomas, who makes the artwork and music. Cellulose Free is recorded in the Deranged Cat Studios in scenic Tasmania, Australia. We keep track of our extensive physical media collection through My Movies, which we highly recommend. You can find links to that, as well as other places you can find us in the show notes. Cellulose Free is a Hi Hello production.
Completely stuffed up our routine. Wow. We are so fragile. Hi, Brianna.
We're still recording until he hits the stop button.
I'm stopping.